Hello, thanks for joining me for another video beer review then. So today we've got a beer from Dogfish Head and it's a bottle of their Wake Up Worldwide Stout. This is clocking in at quite a big 15.3% ABV. It's classed as a double coffee stroke Imperial Stout obviously, but predominantly it's saying breakfast stout. It says on somewhere, I saw it on the bottle or on there, but yeah, it's got some very interesting ingredients. It says an ale brewed with natural flavours, so it's just a 12 fluid ounce, then 355 milliliter bottle. This came in a 4-pack. My good friend Angie Fluid Art gave me a bottle of this when I was over in Cleveland, Ohio back in May. I think this worked out about $38, $39 for a 4-pack, so a pricey beer really, but then you have to be thinking you're getting 4 of a 15.3% ABV beer, 4 of these, so you know what I mean, it swings and roundabouts, depends where you are, you know, within your kind of like craft beer journey, I guess, for a price point there. But for me, that's really damn cheap, being here in the UK, of course. So obviously I brought this home. So yeah, thought I'd give it a review. This beer's not long out of the fridge, probably about 15 minutes or so, just trying to let it warm slightly. So this will actually be quite a rarity. I'm going to do a 2-part review. I'm going to do a cool side and then a warm side. So this beer's probably around about like 6 or 7 degrees. You can work it out if you do conversion rates, whatever. So yeah, this is the first time I've ever reviewed one of this brewery's beers on the channel, so it could be quite interesting. So we're going to pour a little bit of the beer out and then see how we go. There's a green bottle cap for if anyone who's kind of interested in, because I think there's Worldwide Stout. It's not this one. I think there's 1 or 2 different kind of irritations of this. But yeah, incidentally, these guys are out of Delaware, which is on the east coast. So it's a mid-state, mid-Atlantic region of the US, bordering Maryland to the south and West Pennsylvania to its north, New Jersey to its northeast, and the Atlantic Ocean to the east. So we're on that side of the states, which you probably already knew anyway. So let's get this beer out. 15.3, I'm going straight down the middle. I'm not expecting it to pour much of a head on this one. We'll leave it like that for now. We'll leave a little bit in the bottle. That's enough for now. So it didn't really pour much of a head as expected, really. It's not going to, this ABV, to be honest with you. So it's just, yeah, it's a lightly tanned coloured head. Sometimes you never know with these kind of strength of beers. It could be a really kind of dark chocolatey colour or whatever. But yeah, into the light then. Yeah, it's pitch black. There's nothing coming through. I'm reviewing this in the evening, so yeah, it's dark outside and it's pitch black as it is outside. So let's give it a swirl and a sniff then. As you can see, there's some alcohol legs. You know, the usual kind of things you would expect for a beer of this ABV, really. Really nice kind of glazing on the glass, kind of tinted it slightly like a sugary brown, you know, brown sugar kind of look to it. So there's a little bit more information about the beer, but we'll get into it in a minute. Let's get a nose on this then and see what it's all about. Let it breathe slightly, so see what it's all about. Yeah, so the first thing I'm getting is booze. It's a boozy thing, as you would expect, really. I've looked on Untappd. They got the OG kind of check-in of this beer, and then you've got a 22 version, so 2022 version. So I'd imagine last year was its first kind of trial run, I guess, or first, you know, whether it's going to be a yearly thing or not, I don't know at this point, but it's boozy, as you would expect. Getting a kind of yeah, brown sugar has a slight sweetness in this. Again, these aromas are only going to kind of warm. Well, the aroma is going to come out as the beer warms up. Get my words out. I mean, it says it's brewed with maple syrup. At this point, I'm not sure. You are getting a slight hint of coffee, but everything's very kind of mellowed because it's cold. The only thing that's predominantly coming through at the moment is the alcohol, to be honest with you. But again, we'll come back in half an hour or so, and then we'll give it another 5 minutes just to see how the beer's changed. Hence, I've got a bit of a beer left in the bottle, so and then we'll add to it and see how it changes and stuff like that. But yeah. So it says here, it doesn't actually say too much. There was a bit more on the bottle than there actually is on Untapped, which is interesting. Normally the other way around. So ingredients then are malted barley, organic Nicaraguan. I'm going to butcher the shit out of this. Finsa Terotto cold pressed coffee, oat milk solids. I've heard of oat milk. I don't know what the solids part is all about. Hops, whatever that is, cinnamon and dextrose, which is a non-fermentable sugar. Probably butchering that up, but yeah, and organic maple syrup. So there's a few things there that are going to enhance the sweetness, the dextrose and the maple syrup, for instance. So quite interesting. And then obviously you've got the oat milk, which is going to give it a little bit more of a creaminess. This is what I'm assuming. Let's try it, see what it's all about. As I say, this is not long out of the fridge, so it's still pretty chilled. So anyway, cheers. Yeah, it's pretty hot, as in boozy hot. Hot, sweet. You're getting the cinnamon. The cinnamon is enhancing that alcohol burn, that spicy burn almost. It's taken over proceedings at the moment. How this is going to change as it warms up, it might let a little bit more coffee in. At this moment in time, you wouldn't think that there's too much coffee in this, but it is definitely got that kind of smooth edge to it, that milk sugar. Milk sugar, it says. I'm trying to remember now. Sorry, oat milk. Milk sugar, talking about. I don't know what hops are in it. At this point, the coffee is very kind of subdued. It's a big boozy lump of a beer. You are getting that kind of creaminess from the oats, of course. So that that's always going to kind of generally be present, hot or cold. But I can feel the booze as I'm talking in my mouth, in my throat. It's definitely a fireball. It's one of those deals. It's yep, it's one of them. So this is a beer at this point, drinking cold, not long out of the fridge. I prefer them to be room temperature, to be honest with you. But then I have just come home. Right, I'm going to do a review of this. Let it breathe for 10 minutes or so. Crack it open. Come back in half an hour. See how this beer changes. But at the moment, it's pretty damn hot. So, yeah. I'll come back in about 20 minutes, half an hour or so, and then we'll see how this beer's changed as it warms up a little bit. So yeah. For me, it's half an hour. For you, it's just in a minute. Yeah, we're back then. So yeah, I've got a little bit left. It's been about half an hour or so since just joined. It definitely feels more room temperature, maybe a slightly bit chilled than room temperature, but yeah, near enough. Let's see how it's changed then. Let's get a nose on this, see if it's as boozy. We've still got the booze, you're still getting it, you get a long sniff and it's like, but there's more of a kind of, you're getting more of that maple syrup kind of vibe going on. That's definitely pulling through. Maybe a touch more coffee. Not crazy sweet, but yeah, booze is obviously still very prominent. So let's get on the taste, see if it's changed. Cheers again. Wow. So initially it's much more approachable, considering it's 15.3% ABV. There's still that alcohol presence about 2 or 3 seconds after, and then you're getting a hell of a lot more of that kind of oat milk going on in this. Much more smoother, rounded. Not quite so harsh on the burn of the alcohol, although it's still present, of course. You're not going to escape that at any temperature, of course, unless you age this beer for many years, and even still you can still get alcohol burn after that. But then a lot of the other flavours may have fallen off a little bit, and it just kind of invigorates the ABV more because everything else has fallen away. But you're not going to get away from it. It's the ABV. It is what it is. It's a crazy ABV for stouts. But what I am really lacking, even at room temperature, is the coffee. It's still there. It's definitely more prominent than it was. Don't get me wrong, but it's being masked, I would say, somewhat by the alcohol. There's almost some kind of slight vanilla kind of vibe coming through, so it's a lot more sweeter. It's a lot more rounder, or rounded, should I say? It's just a great beer. Saying all of that, it's a beer that it's a sipper, obviously. Not a chugger for sure. As I say, this is a very rare treat for me, having a beer like this in my possession. But so thank you very much, Angie, for the beer. It's 50 IBUs, incidentally. It's something I didn't mention earlier. Not that you're getting any kind of particular bitter, kind of roasty, toasty, malt type kind of thing coming from this. It's more of a rounded, it's quite sweet with that maple syrup. As I say, I don't know what they've used in this. It just does mention on the bottle natural flavouring. So flavourings is always kind of for me, a little bit of a, it's one of those words that, what is that? What does that mean? You need to elaborate a little bit more, but that's just me being picky. But overall, it's a fantastic beer. You are getting a little bit of roastiness from it, from the malts, more than probably the coffee, I'd say, because obviously there's a lot more kind of roastiness, toastiness in this than what you're actually probably picking up due to the ABV. It's masking a lot of that, in my view. But saying that, it's still a fantastic beer. It's a nice beer to share, even though like a 12 fluid ounce, you could probably share that if you just want a taste of it. 2 or 3 people with one of those bottles, no problem at all. And you can try other things as well, not without getting inebriated. Overall, yeah, it's a really nice beer to. I'm so chuffed to actually get to review something like this on the channel, of course. So, not very rarely available in the UK. We did have some 120, 90 and 60-minute IPA beers from these guys in the UK fairly recently. So every now and again it does happen, but you've generally got to be pretty quick with it, that kind of deal. But yeah, overall, fantastic beer. So this is Dogfish Head then, Wake Up Wide World, Wide World, Worldwide Stout. It's going to my head, yeah. So let me know if you've had this before over in the States. It's definitely worth picking up if you find it. It's quite rare these days, but and this was actually purchased in a gas station, as you call it in the States, so which is pretty damn crazy. Anyway, thanks again, Angie, for the beer. Do check out, we're going to be doing a live review of this beer on Angie's channel as well. I've just pre-recorded this before that, so I've still got a bit left to do the review there. So I will, if I remember, put her link down below. Thank you for watching then. You'll take care, and I'll see you on the next review. Cheers.